Hi guys, welcome to oldschoolhaunter and the behind the scenes of my popupghost DIY project. The video of my popupghost has already been published and you can find the link for the project down in the description. Just take a look because there you can see the finished result and how to build this prop. If you don't know the project yet, then have a quick look at the other video and then come back to this video, because in this video I'll show you the technical aspects of the project, so you can think of this video as the second part. I'll show you what components you need, how they are connected to each other and how to program everything so the ghost does what the ghost is supposed to do. But before we start, as always, here's the short hint. This video has no sponsorship, so feel free to subscribe to my channel to support me here. But now, let's go! So as first, let me show you the components you need. So for this project I use an Arduino UNO R3 and I add the full name in the subtitle here. Then we have this MP3 sound module, this controller for voltage and amps for the servo motor, a 40 kilograms servo motor, an ultrasonic sensor, and a fuse from the cars. Alright, to show you how all the components are connected to each other, I decided to use this schematic overview here, and therefore I took a picture of the components. So here we have our Arduino, the controller for voltage and amps for the servo, our servo itself, our fuse, the MP3 sound module and our ultrasonic sensor. So let's start by powering the Arduino. Powering the Arduino is very simple, so I have a power supply given 12 volts here, and we have plus or fuse here, and this is connected to this connector here of the Arduino, and using this connector you can power the Arduino in a range 7 to 12 volts. Next up I connect the MP3 sound module, and this works with 5 volts, and therefore I use the 5 volts of the Arduino. So we have plus 5 volts going to plus here on the sound module, and minus goes back to ground of the Arduino. So now we have power, we want to play some sounds. And here I decided to trigger the sounds directly, so I have 3 sounds, I need 3 control wires. And here I use the pins 1, 2 and 3 of the MP3 module, and this module have different modes to play sounds, but I decided to play the sounds directly. And when you want to play the sounds directly, the important thing is that these 3 switches are in this position, so in the off position. Then we have the connector for the speaker and our slot for the micro SD card, which contains the MP3 files. So our 3 pins for the sounds, 1, 2 and 3, are connected to the 3 digital pins 8, 9 and 10 of the Arduino. So now we can play sound, we need a trigger. And therefore we connect the ultrasonic sensor, and here again we have some power. So again we have 5 volts from the Arduino, and ground goes back to ground of the Arduino. Then we have the trigger and echo pin of the ultrasonic sensor, and the trigger pin is connected to digital pin number 7 of the Arduino, and the echo pin is connected to pin number 6 of the Arduino. So we have a trigger, and now we want to perform a reaction, and therefore we connect the servo. So to connect the servo I use this controller in between, and this controller is connected directly to 12 volts here, plus and ground. And the cool thing about this controller, this allows me to adjust the voltage and amps for the servo, because the servo itself works within a range of 5 to 7.4 volts. And using this controller I can adjust the voltage in a very nice way. Adjusting the amps is not so important for me, but adjusting the voltage. So now let's connect the servo. Again we have plus going to plus, and ground goes to ground here. And so our servo does something. We need to connect the control wire, the yellow one here, and this control wire is connected to pin number 13 of the Arduino. So here you have an overview of all wires which are connected to the components here, and now our components are connected to each other. We need to perform some programming, and therefore we take a look at the Arduino script. Alright, here we have the Arduino script. Yeah, and if we scroll down here, it's not that long here, so let me quickly go through the script and give you a short explanation. So first up we have our Arduino pins here, as I told you previously, and we have 6 and 7 for the ultrasonic sensor. We have pins 8, 9 and 10 for the sounds and pin 13 for the servo, and we have our servo controller here. Then we have some const values, and here we have the trigger distance, and this is how close a person has to come to the prop to trigger the prop, and this is set to 1 meter here, and I also give you the translation to inches, of course. And yeah, for example, if the person is 1.50 meters away, the prop doesn't get triggered here. Then we have a trigger distance delta. This is set to 25 centimeters, and this is more like an offset, and this is used in conjunction with the last trigger distance. And yeah, this was added because the prop shouldn't get triggered only because while a person stands in front of the prop, so the person has to move in front of the prop to trigger the prop. So for example, if the prop was triggered by 50 centimeters, the person has to move at least plus minus 25 centimeters to trigger the prop again. Then we have a timeout while the prop is in the up position. This is set to 10 seconds. Then we have a general animation timeout. This is set to 5 seconds. This is a timeout which is used after the whole animation run. So we send the prop to sleep for 5 seconds. And then we have our angles for the servo. And to be honest, those values aren't calculated. This is something I figured out after setting up the prop. So the sleep position, the horizontal position, is set to 174 degrees, and the pop-up angel, so the vertical position, is set to 70 degrees here. Then we have some variables to store some values later on. And yeah, then we have our setup. There we first set up the motor controller with the pin of the servo and send the motor to the horizontal position, so the sleep angle here. So the prop is always in the horizontal position when the prop starts. Then we set up the pins for the ultrasonic sensor, the pins for the sound controller, and then we set the sound pins to high here. Don't ask me why, this is something I got from the instructions of the sound module here. So that's it, and then we come to the main loop here. And this is where the magic happens here. And here we have the first part for the ultrasonic sensor. And we start by setting the trigger pin to low. And this is an advice I got from the internet. Always set the trigger pin to low to get a clear signal after that. So set it to low, then activate the trigger, set it to high, give it a short delay, and then deactivate it again. The signal is sent, and then we use the echo pin to measure the duration of the signal, and this equation is used to calculate the distance in centimeters. Sorry, I can't get you the values to calculate the distance in inches here, so sorry guys. So and then we can start the animation, and here we have 2 checks. So the first check is something I call the bounce check, and here we check whether the person has moved at least 25 centimeters from the last trigger point. If this is given, I check the person is closer than 1 meter to the prop, and the calculated distance is greater than 0. And this is something I added after testing, because I got some negative values for the calculated distance, and this would mean the person stands behind the ultrasonic sensor, which is not possible here. So I add this check here for greater than 0 and to get rid of those negative values here. Yeah, and then it's time to start the animation. So first I store the current trigger distance. This is important for the next loop here to do the bounce check. And then we start the sound here, and I randomly choose one sound pin here, so sound pin 1, 2 or 3. And to be honest, random function works quite reliable here. It could be better. Maybe one can program this here a little bit better here, but to be honest, we talk about Halloween here and nobody will notice when the same sound is played 2, 3 or 4 times, so I'm fine with this here. So if we have our sound pin, we start the sound on the sound module, give it a short delay to wait for the start of the sound module, and then we deactivate the sound pin again, and the sound module will play the sound asynchronously here. So the script moves on, and then we fire up our servo controller here and give it full speed to the pop-up angel, so the prop moves to the up position. And when it's in the up position, we wait for 10 seconds here. And then we have this loop here where the prop is moved from the up to the horizontal position back again, and I iterate the angle by 1 degree here, and having this short delay of 25 milliseconds creates a cool smooth movement here. So here and at the end of the animation we have our general timeout, which sends our prop to sleep for 5 seconds. So yeah, that's it. That's the script for my pop-up ghost, and you can find the link for the script down in the description. I hope it's clear here, and I kept it relatively easy here, pretty straightforward. I didn't do any optimizations here. So if you have any advice what can be done better, please tell me about down in the comments. Alright, back in reality, and yeah, this is how it looks like, and this is why I showed you the connection as a schematic overview. But short here we have the wire from the power supply with the fuse. And from here we go to the Arduino and to the controller for voltage and amps for the servo. And these 3 wires go up to the servo here, plus minus, and the yellow control wire, which goes to pin 13 here. So then we have those 2 vacuos here, and those vacuos are connected to plus minus 5 volts of the Arduino. And the power from here goes to the ultrasonic sensor and to the sound module here, and those control wires are connected to the Arduino here, and here we have our 3 control wires to trigger the sounds of the sound module. Then we have the SD card with the MP3 files, and here we have the connector for the speakers, and here at the back sides we have the speakers. So everything will be covered during Halloween, and yeah, this is the whole secret behind my pop-up ghost, but I think I will show you how it works in reality. So that was the behind the scenes of my pop-up ghost project. I hope I could explain everything in a way that your questions could be answered as far as possible. You've seen that the control center itself doesn't need too many components, and the programming itself is pretty straightforward here. The link to the Arduino script is included down in the description of the video. If you still have questions, feel free to use the comments, ask, and I will try to answer your questions. Also tell me if you would have built something differently, because you know you never stop learning and you grow with your project. So we've reached the end of the video, and if you make it until here, then this is a good point to subscribe to my channel to support me. Be sure you activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of the new videos, and please give me a thumbs up to show other Halloween crafters, hey, these are really cool projects. And also feel free to share my videos across all channels you know, Facebook, WhatsApp, whatever, so that even more Halloween crafters get to know about these projects here. I am definitely looking forward to see you again in the next video. So for today I say thanks for watching and happy Halloween!